hold myself to a high professional standard, and you shouldn't hear that language, okay? I'm having a shitty day. Fuck stick.
What is up, YouTube? And welcome back to Tactical Newbie, the channel where a newbie like me gets into all things tactical. With the funny movie introductions out of the way per usual, like we always do, let's get right into today's video. Today's video, I'm going to be doing yet another tactical comparison video, a part of the tactical comparison segment of videos that I do feature on the channel. For those of you that are not familiar with the tactical comparison segment of videos, it is essentially where I take a Gucci brand name item and I cross-compare it to its budget-friendly clone alternative, highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between, as well as highlight price points between the two products to hopefully provide to you, the tactical-minded consumer, or at least somebody looking to build a specific loadout, a possible budget-friendly alternative to the otherwise Gucci brand name, obviously to save yourself a couple dollars. But with all the rambling out of the way, let's get right into today's video. Today's video will be featuring the Axle Equinox Cumberbund system, and we will be cross-comparing it to its, at least, budget-friendly AliExpress alternative, of the same name, Equinox Cumberbund, essentially just a clone knockoff of that. Basically, long story short, both of these, at least, products are fairly similar across the board, at least in overall dimensionality. One of the key highlights that I will at least pinpoint for you guys going into the video is that there is going to be a significant difference in sizing between the actual Axle product versus the knockoff product. The Axle product is a large, while the knockoff variant is a medium. So obviously, for those of you that are at least watching the video up this point, if you notice I don't really make a huge emphasis on the sizing, it's because the sizing is different between the two products, large versus medium, not anything to do with any of the comparison of the two products directly. Just, if I were to get to the Axle medium, it would probably be the same size as the knockoff variant. With that being said, there is a couple key highlight differences also between the two products, at least overall in quality, but again, I will touch on that in the later part of the video. Now, before I mess this up, we'll just kind of wrap up this intro and get both of these products down on the table, so that way you guys can take a look. But with all the rambling out of the way, I will see you guys on the other side.
Alrighty guys, and away we go. So first we will start by taking a look at the Axle Advance Equinox Cumberbund. The Cumberbund set comes in a pair. Retail price for the pair is $142.95, obviously plus tax and any additional shipping and handling charges. We'll kind of provide a 360-degree review of the actual Cumberbund system and obviously the components that come with it for assembly, which is essentially just these attachable hook and loop panels, and you do have some tab inserts with some bungee cord in order to get everything nice and installed. From here, we'll take a look at the AliExpress Clone alternative. Retail price for the AliExpress Clone alternative is $39.86, obviously again plus tax, tariffs, and any additional shipping and handling charges. Also take in consideration that when you're dealing directly with AliExpress, you're going to get a variation of different prices. I have seen these Cumberbund systems for as expensive through Pew Tactical, the manufacturer Pew Tactical, as like $98. And as low as like $26, depending on at least the distributor and the manufacturer that you deal with. This specific batch I got here was through at least AliExpress and not through Pew Tactical, and that was the price I got. So you might be able to find a cheaper price across the board. Alright, and per usual, get an overhead look at the two products, cross-compare the two prices, the $142.95 to the $39.86. Obviously, you can tell there's a big price difference between the two, at least, products. The budget alternative is obviously a lot cheaper, and we will highlight a lot of the quality differences between these two products because there is at least quite a bit to highlight and something that you may want to take note of, at least moving forward. But from here, we'll actually start by at least taking a direct look at the Axle Advance Equinox Cumberbund, give it a full 360-degree look and more of an up-close look at overall quality while I at least review the product details coming from Axle Advance. Axle Advance's main website states that the Equinox Cumberbund is a rigid, lightweight cummerbund with a capture first spear tubes attachment. This design offers the structural strength and load-bearing capacity of a rigid cummerbund while providing the quick-release convenience of the tube system. It's compatible with most side armor pouches. It can be used for hook and loop backed cummerbund carriers. They do have a carrier list and retrofit kit for whatever specific carrier that you may be running at this present time. And they will provide at least the assembly node straps and other components based on whatever the compatibility. I will kind of at least do a brief run through. It says that the compatibility for the Equinox Cumberbund is for basically the Q Performance Ice Plates, EXO Gen 3, the Spiritus Overt OTB, the Cry SPC, the Cry AVS, the Cry JPC, / MBAV, the Shaw Concepts ARC V2, USMC PC Gen 2, the Matte Block Berserker V3, Ferro Concepts FCPC, and Slickster. The total weight for the product is 6.6 ounces, and it comes in available sizes small, medium, and large, extra large. But that's pretty much a full retrofit, at least product detail list of the Equinox Cumberbund coming directly from at least Axle Advance. It is a pretty neat, at least cummerbund system for the most part. I do like the rigid, at least first spear tubes. They are very, very good quality across the board. And again, if you need to reflect any compatibility list, feel free to take a look at Axle Advance, which I will have the at least website link in the description down below. Overall quality of the product, though, is bar none very, very good. The actual cummerbund system is very, very rigid. The laser cut on the actual cummerbund system is top notch. Don't really see any type of, at least, bad cuts or anything like that. Stitching is very, at least, tight. There is a couple loose stragglers on certain areas, but I mean, it's nothing that you can't, put at least a light or two if you want to burn off. The actual, as I did kind of highlight a little bit, the cummerbund system is fairly rigid across the board. It doesn't look like they use the standard Tigris material. It is a different type of thermoplastic. It looks similar to what Agilite uses for their Magnetics Cumberbund system. As opposed to the knockoff variant that does have at least the Tigris thermoplastic or knockoff variant Tigris thermoplastic. The bungee cords are very, very thick. That's one of the highlights that I will at least highlight a little bit more explicitly when taking a look at the knockoff variant. The bungee, at least the elastic bungee cords are definitely smaller and a little bit more cheaply looking across the board for the knockoff variant, but again, I'll highlight that more specifically when we get into the cross details between the two products. It does come with a full assembly kit for everything, so obviously it comes as a kit setup, and then you have to at least assemble the plate, or at least the cummerbund system to your plate carrier system yourself. It's not really super difficult. I did kind of feature a video of me installing the knockoff variant of the Axle, at least Equinox, on my Crydex JPC 2.0. I will be featuring a video installing the Axle variant onto my Cry JPC 2.0 in a future video coming up very soon. So be on the lookout for that if you need at least any sort of reference guide or a video to at least highlight how to install this specific cummerbund system. You can also reflect Axle Advance's YouTube page. They do have videos featured there for installation. Now moving on along to the AliExpress, excuse me, I cannot talk today, Clone variant. The AliExpress Clone variant is basically comparably very, very similar to the Axle Advance primary variant for the most part. The actual AliExpress website doesn't really have much on product details, just kind of a brief dimension breakdown. It states that the actual medium, keep in mind that you do not get a large extra large with this cummerbund setup. It comes in a standard size of medium/small, so take that in consideration if you're a bigger guy and you want the large/extra large. You do have to at least go the Axle Advance route, because at least up to this present moment, nothing from AliExpress is sold or at least distributed in a larger size other than a couple rare products here and there. Overall dimensions of the actual cummerbund system, it is about 44 centimeters long and it's 7.8 centimeters high. Take that into however you want to convert it. but basically it's just your standard, medium length. It's, I would say, similar in comparison to the Axle Advance variant. Overall quality is fairly good. When I first actually got this Cumberbund system, I was quite impressed until I actually got the Axle Advance variant, and then I kind of noticed kind of the specific details in the manufacturing where they did kind of cheap out a little bit, especially when it comes to the quote-unquote first spear tube configuration that they have for basically the Cumberbund quick donning and doffing setup. The one thing that I will highlight in the later part of the video is that the Axle Advance is cross-compatible to the at least the hook and loop variant of the AliExpress quick tube system. I swear I can't talk today. Quick tube system. It is good on cross comparatively to the Axle Advance variant, but taking the actual AliExpress variant and moving it to the actual first spear tubes on the hook and loop, at least assembly points for the Axle Express variant, they do not cross over. And again, I will kind of highlight on that a little bit more in the later part of the video. The AliExpress variant does also give you all the assembly little shims and all the little points of attachment that you will need to at least effectively assemble your Cumberbund system to your plate carrier system. Again, for the most part, I think this specific Cumberbund system from AliExpress is, again, cross-universal for a lot of the at least plate carrier manufacturers that I kind of listed a little bit earlier, but kind of tread a little bit lightly. Because obviously Axle Advance, when they at least have that list of compatible at least plate carrier systems, that's with their specific product. And even though the AliExpress variant is a direct copy, there's no guarantee that it would be, at least uniformly as cross-compatible with some of those plate carrier systems. I can say for 100% certainty that the knockoff variant is compatible with the Cry or Crydex JPC 2.0. I know that for a fact because I did have it installed on my Crydex JPC 2.0. Now from here, we'll at least set all the products back down on the table, and then what we'll do is we'll actually do a cross point-by-point comparison of kind of all the components together from the Axle Advance Equinox Cumberbund system and cross-compare them to the AliExpress Clone variant. So that way you can kind of get a general consensus of overall quality difference between the two products. But yeah, we'll kind of move on from there in a second. Alrighty, now we're going to start at least with the cross comparison of the two products in entirety. First, we'll start with the actual hook and loop, at least adapter points that will go under the at least placard system on the front of your plate carrier system. This is essentially where the tube system will attach to allow the Cumberbund to have that quick donning and doffing availability. Essentially, all you got to do is just slap those bad boys on to the corresponding hook and loop Velcro side of your plate carrier system. It's pretty cut and dry on that. The tube structure overall is significantly different between the two. You can tell that the knockoff variant has a knockoff first spear tube, at least quote-unquote clone, but not really a full clone, because as you can see, the dimensions and the makeup of at least the tube systems, especially when you take a look at the compatibility between the two, which I'll showcase that in a little bit later, they're not 100% universally cross-compatible. So while it is a quote-unquote close clone to the first spear tube system, it is a tube system for quick donning and doffing. It is not a direct clone of the first spear, at least makeup and dimensions. So it does kind of create a little bit of an issue with cross-compatibility between the two products, which is a little bit of a downside and a little bit of a bummer. I was hoping to be able to have cross-compatibility between the two products, but obviously not. Highlighting that cross-compatibility, you can see that the actual knockoff hook and loop, at least patches, do at least the tube structure on that end is cross-compatible to the Axle Advance, at least quick detach part of the actual Cumberbund system. Now, taking a look at the knockoff variant, we will try to at least slap that onto the first spear tube portion on the hook and loop assembly point, and you can tell just by looking at the video, I get a lot of basically it doesn't fit. Like I tried to push the at least the tube system in to the actual latching mechanism, and it doesn't seem to fit in. I don't know if the dimensions of the actual latching system is just not 100% correct, or if it's just the makeup of the tube structure. But I didn't want to force it in. Those things should be able to slide fairly freely on and off without any issues. You just pull the tab up in order to release, but they should slide on fairly with a fair amount of ease and not any type of at least hang up whatsoever. But I was getting quite significant hang up and friction trying to slide at least the first spear tube system into the knockoff variant latch system. So I wasn't going to push it, but I can say with at least fair certainty, I would say about 95% certainty, probably even 100% certainty, because I'm doing it here at the moment of this specific video, that you're not going to be able to at least cross uniformly use the knockoff variant if you did happen to have first spear tubes. And based on the at least configuration and structure of how these tubes are at least mounted on the Cumberbund system, I think, you know, swapping the actual tube system out of the knockoff variant would be essentially a huge pain in the ass and wouldn't be worth your time or anything like that. Now, taking a look at the mounting, at least shims that come with both of the the Cumberbund systems, there is another huge discrepancy and difference in the quality of the Tigris or whatever thermoplastic material between the two products. The AliExpress variant has kind of what looks to be Tigris thermoplastic, but it is quite flimsy and very, very elastic, bendable, pliable. While looking at the at least Axle Advance variant, their at least shims, the attachment shims, are very rigid and structurally sound for the most part, and very, very strong. So you probably wouldn't have any issues, obviously, with the Axle Advance variant because of the fact that it seems like they did not cheap out on their thermoplastic to provide you, the at least consumer, a good structurally sound Cumberbund system without any at least risk of cheapening out on the plastic. Now, the actual knockoff variant does have that kind of Tigris thermoplastic look to it. I did see a couple commenters saying stuff on some previous videos that that depending on the manufacturer, sometimes they'll do like a mock paint job on a cheaper thermoplastic, and that it is not true Tigris material. And what they essentially do is they kind of make it look like a Tigris material, and that's how they can kind of fake the look with essentially cheaping out on the actual thermoplastic material within itself. Now, I don't know that to be 100% true or not. That could just be hearsay, but that's a little bit of what I heard from at least some specific commenters as it pertains to the Chinese variant of the thermoplastic material that they tend to use on a lot of their products. So take that into consideration. Overall quality, though, I think across the board, I mean, if you're kind of looking to try the Equinox Cumberbund, but you don't really want to go full commit on the price points, going the AliExpress route and actually getting the Clone budget-friendly alternative is at least a good route to go, especially, like I said, if it ends up being something that you don't really like. You don't have to feel like you lost out a boatload of money, at least a boatload of dollars, on the actual Axle Advance variant, because essentially you just spent like $38, $40 on a Cumberbund system. Then you'd be like, okay, I don't really like it, I'm going to switch to something else, and then it's no big deal instead of dropping like, you know, 150 plus on a new Cumberbund system that then you run for a couple months and you realize the fit or just how it, you know, fits on your frame, you don't really like it, and then you end up scrapping it and having to either resell it or do something of that nature. Now, taking a look at the shock cord, this was one of the other highlight quality differences between the two products. The Axle Advance shock cord that they provide is definitely a lot more robust and it's thicker on all avenues. Definitely wouldn't have to worry about this fraying and at least cutting loose at any point down the road. The good news about at least shock cord across the board is that you can get it for reasonably fairly cheap. But the Axle, or at least the knockoff variant of the Equinox Cumberbund's at least elastic shock cord, is definitely thinner and cheaper overall. So take that into consideration. It is just shock cord at the end of the day. If you wanted to upgrade to at least, you know, a more reinforced shock cord, you can buy that on Amazon and reinforce it yourself, you know, down the road. Now, taking a look at the actual Cumberbund system, kind of the bread and butter of the full cummerbund system, because that's what it is across the board, you will see that overall, at least dimensionality-wise, between the two products are very, very similar. The actual, at least aesthetic look of the knockoff variant is very similar to the actual Equinox Cumberbund. Obviously, as I did highlight at the beginning of the video, there is a huge size discrepancy between the two products. The actual advanced variant is a large/extra large, while the knockoff variant is a small/medium. Basically, a lot of the products that you're going to get on AliExpress, especially the Cumberbunds and most of your plate care systems and most of your battle belts, at least for the most part, are going to be of that medium range. So any of the bigger boys that have a bigger framed body set or anything like that, that maybe want to step up to a larger, Cumberbund system or larger plate carrier, plate bag, or anything like that, you're kind of SOL a little bit, because going the at least budget-friendly alternative, for the most part, they tend to mass manufacture a lot of their knockoff gear as just the medium 10x12 plate bags and your medium Cumberbund systems. They don't really like to, I guess, step out to the larger frames because it won't really hit a mass audience or a mass consumer base. They tend to want to, I guess, fit within the niche of what they're trying to sell, which is going to be for most of your average body types, most athletic average body types, and some of us bigger boys are kind of SOL when it comes to at least trying to step up to a bigger size if you need it. Now, looking at overall rigidity of the two, at least Cumberbund, at least structures, you can tell that the Axle Advanced Cumberbund is definitely more rigid. That's probably because of the better thermoplastic that's actually in the Cumberbund system, while the knockoff variant is a lot more flimsy across the board. But all things considered, like I said, if you're just looking to go the route to kind of save yourself a couple dollars and go through a trial run, going the AliExpress route might not be bad.
Alrighty guys, I hope you liked the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of today's tactical comparison video, a part of the tactical comparison segment of videos that I do feature on the channel. Just like to highlight the same stuff that I normally highlight at the end of every video. I do have a Twitter/X. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you want to follow me there. I also do have a Patreon. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below as well. If you want to contribute any sort of patronage to the Tactical Newbie channel, keep in mind that all the items that I feature across the board on the Tactical Newbie channel, basically everything that is a part of the Tactical Newbie channel, is 100% self-funded by myself and my real-time job. I am not given any products for free in order to do product reviews. I am not given any sort of financial, at least contribution of any sort in order to spin a positive light on any of these products. For the most part, everything that I do feature, like I said, is 100% self-funded by myself and purchased from me. If there was ever an instance where I was given a product to review by a specific manufacturer, I would make that 100% transparent to you guys immediately, so that way you know there might be any possible, at least, bias across the board. Which, with all things considered, I try to be as honest as possible, even if I was given a product to review for free or, anything of that nature, get any sponsorships or anything like that. I still want to continue with the Tactical Newbie channel, being as at least honest and upfront with my own opinions without having any sway based on monetary persuasion or anything of that regard. But with all the rambling out of the way, yeah, I will see you guys next week.